Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of whatever this is. I'm Keeonra from Keeonra Music, and I hope you're all doing well this morning, this afternoon, this evening, today, wherever you are, whenever you are. I'm going to be looking at automation, I think, this time round. So I'm going to be looking at the Symphonic Rock song that I've been creating. And if you haven't been a part of that so far, then hopefully you're in for a treat. It's been a fun ride. I'll explain something first. This song came about originally because a Facebook group I'm in has like a song spark every month. And the spark for the month, or the idea of coming into it, was to do something with hi Ashley, thanks for joining, great to see you back here again. The idea was to use something that was pre-recorded, a sample, whether it was your own sample or a sample of something, a guitar riff or drums or vocals or whatever that someone else had done. So I decided to use the Lacrimosa from the example that I created for one of my singing students, which is the alto part from Lacrimosa, the movement from Mozart's Requiem. That's where all this started. So it has become a beast of a song. It's in the sort of genre-ish of symphonic rock, along the lines of Nightwish, which is one of my favourite bands, and I love their Ghost Love score, which is just brilliant. So, without further ado, I will go into the song and we will have a look at what I have here. So I have done some tinkering about and changed a few things. So Roque was in the live stream last week and sort of indicated to me via chat after the stream and said, "Hey Keeonra, I think your bass is just a little bit wrong. Something sounds a bit wonky," which I appreciated because my ears aren't the best and I have to do a bit of guesswork and making sure that notes and things are correct from a visual and musicality perspective. So as long as, if it's a triad, it's got to be in the right key and can't have any missed notes or anything. So I had a few wonky notes. When I looked at the wonky notes, it then had a flow-on effect to other wonky notes, which had a flow-on effect to other wonky notes. And basically, I rewrote the bass part for the choruses, rewrote all of the string parts, did a little bit of work on the drums, got rid of the chorus, and we have virtually a new song. Not a new song, but it's different, but we can have a little listen through, and if you can let me know, Ashley, if you're in the chat, and let me know if this sound level is all okay, if you can hear it, if it's too loud or too quiet, and let me know and I can make adjustments from this end, and we'll see how we go. Here we go. also changed the bit of guitar there as well. Alrighty. So that's where it's at the moment. And let me just check something. That's cool. Yeah, so the strings are much better than they were. I need to look at fixing the strings, because I don't know whether you noticed or not, because of the samples. Oh, thank you, Ashley. I'm glad you like it. With the samples, it's BBC Symphony Orchestra library, and they're they have been sampled from real string players. And so when you think about the strings being played, I'll go back to here to demonstrate. So when you think about the strings being played, the violins being held here, and if they're playing to the music, or usually conductor, the downbeat from the conductor, they usually almost start the bowing process, so the note is starting to be played as the conductor goes down. So it's similar to me as a singer, as I take the breath in on the upbeat and I start singing the note right on the downbeat, almost just before. So it is a lot of practice to get that right. So when we're using samples here, when we quantize right on the beat, the actual string sound comes in a little bit late. So what we need to do is just sort of scooch it along a little bit so that it sounds like it's on the note. So if that all makes sense. So let's do that first, because if we're going to do some automation with the volume with those strings throughout and give it some contrast, then we really need to get the positioning of the strings correct. So let's have a look at that from this part first. Scooching. Yeah, it's a technical term, scooching. Lots of scooching. So let's have a look at the violins. Well, all of the strings, really. We can look at all the strings all at once and see where they're at, and we can choose them all and scooch them over. So at the moment, for example, if we had a look here, it's right on the beat here. So for example, if we go to here a little bit before and played it with the metronome, you would hear the sound coming in a little bit after the beat. Hear that? So it's just a tiny bit. So it's just there that we actually hear the sound. So the sound, the note is starting to be played there. But as a violinist, when you start to play, you don't really hear the sound in its fullness until a minute split second later. So hear it again. Right, so we just need to scooch it all over. Now, I think there's a way to do it automatically in the quantizing. I think we can set it. I'm not too sure. But I've in the past just manually scooched. Yeah, so it depends on the sample, Ashley. So some samples are synthesized. So if they're not, so if they say they're string or violins, but they're actually a synth sound replicating a violin or something, then it might be straight on the beat. So it depends on the sample. And some samples are a little bit later or earlier than others. So you've got to really treat each sample library completely different because of the way that they're set up. So it is a bit of a juggling sort of act to do that. Let me see if I can, for example, choose all of that and hit quantize and see what so there are options to, there's an offset. And I'm not sure whether that is what I want it to do. No, that's not. There is a setting, and I think it's at the start of the track or something. So if I was to highlight the entire track, this is where I'm not too sure. Nudge settings. So you can nudge things. That's the overall nudge setting. So I don't want to do that. There is a way of doing it, but I think I might just manually do it so it's just easier for this process. What I'll do is I'll just highlight everything and we'll go have a look at that. And if we highlight everything, and that should work. There we go. And then we nudge it a bit. So you can see them moving over a little bit. So now if we press play with the metronome, maybe that's a little bit too early now. Watch your ears, this is going to get loud. Yeah, it's not too bad. I reckon one would be plenty. Yep, it is. It's just that little bit. There you go. And that's all it is. That is all it is. So it's just highlighting all of that and scooching it over one little bit like that. Oh no, I must have done 2. I must have done 3 before. So if we solo both of those, and now it sounds the same. And then if we go do the same with the violas, and we go down, where's the violas? They're here. And we nudge those over. They should be the same. Let's listen to those. Now it comes in on the beat, rather than being late. So I've done that with all the notes because that should be the same. Fingers crossed. Haha. Cello as well. And highlighted and scooched. that does sound a lot better. Now, the other thing I can do as well is add some articulations to them. So, for example, I know I mentioned on here I was going to do automation, but this is a little bit of tidying up before I get into the automation. So, for example, we've got a few short notes here. And they sort of get lost a bit because they're trying to play legato long notes, which is what I've defaulted these instruments to. So if I bring up the actual instrument, I've locked it, which means it won't revert back to anything else. So I've got them as long. Okay, so the long notes sound really nice. The other option is to go legato. And if we listen to legato, that's just the cello. So that actually sounds better, I think, than the longs. So they're a bit detached there. If we actually make them legato, they sound a bit better. But does it sound better with these shorter notes here? Actually, not too bad. I might actually leave them as legato then, if that's the case. So what I've done is that you can actually lock it off. So I've changed it to legato and I've locked it there so it won't change back. Let's do the same with the violas. And I chose longs. I don't know why I did. Ah, yes. Before I had put all the string pieces I had put in as just pedal notes all the way along. So yeah, I just wanted long notes. I've changed my mind, haven't I? So let's change all these now to legato. That one's legato, that's fine. So rather than putting in articulation maps for the shorter notes, let's see if this actually works now. So let's go back to about here and listen to all the strings. Actually sounds a lot better. It's little things like that that make all the difference. So let's hear it in context with the rest of the instruments. That sounds a lot better. That sounds a lot better. So I won't worry about articulations for those. I'll leave them all legato, and that sounds wonderful. Okay, so next thing I need to do is to save it, because Cakewalk occasionally crashes. Like most DAWs, it takes a little bit of grunt work to get these things going, so we don't want to overwork our little computers. Thank you, Ashley. I'm glad it's sounding awesome. I've been putting a lot of work into it. I was hoping to have done vocals this last week, but I've had the worst hay fever and a scratchy throat. The pollen has just been awful here. It's springtime in Australia, and based in Perth, Western Australia, unlike the rest of the country, which is having storms and floods, although we've had a lot of weird rain and cold weather today, we've had sunny days and lots of flowers and lots of pollen, and I've had itchy eyes and scratchy throat and haven't been able to sing. So I thought, well, I'm not going to do a bad job. I want to do a really good job with this. So I'll leave vocals till next week, hopefully. All right. So let's look at fixed up that. I have done a little bit with the drums, and I'm not sure when it comes to pre-chorus here if this works or not. Let me know what you reckon. Oops. And let's take a look at the piano roll for this. Where is it? There it is. So, oops, wrong way. There it is. So this is just before the pre-chorus. Where is it? Right, so it's there in the pre-chorus, and I wasn't sure whether to change it or not. I think I did back here, I'm not sure. So that's the bit that I added in since last time to join up the 12/8 time to the 4/4 time, going from 61.5 beats per minute to 99 beats per minute. That was a challenge. I didn't know how to do that, and I just sort of wangled my way through it. So yeah, that sounds really good. So I'm happy with that bit. I don't want the drums sounding the same all the way through, and it's with this bit, the pre-chorus here. I think. So that bit sounds the same as this bit. Which sounds awesome, but I don't want it played every time. So I don't know, I think I might change this middle one. Yeah, I might do that. On a previous version, I actually changed the first one, but I might change this middle one. So what we're going to do is bring this right up. And this is the drum map for it, which if you want, we don't need the keyboard. If you don't know anything about drum maps, there's plenty of YouTube videos on it, specifically for Cakewalk. Mike from Creative Source has done some wonderful videos on addictive drums too, which I am using at the moment, and how to do drum maps and things. And he's got one already available, and it's available for download in the Facebook community, etc., etc. So otherwise you can create them yourself, or not. And that's okay too. I've done songs without drum maps and stuff too. So it's an either or, but this one I think gives you, it's more technical to set up, but it gives you a lot more flexibility as far as the sound's concerned once it is set up. And if you do set one up, set up as a template, and then you just open up a new template every time you want that particular drum set. So that's what's working for me at the moment. All right, so this is a bit I want to change. So I love it, but I want something different. So I'm thinking, she says, thinking of getting rid of this bit. Delete. No. Yes, no, that's fine. Delete that bit. Here we go. And delete that bit. They're the kicks down there. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy all of that. Yeah, it is picking up. Okay, so copy all of that plus the kicks down the bottom. Okay, so Control-C to copy those. Now we're leaving that one. That's a cymbal crash there. So keeping in mind that our drummer's not a octopus, although that would be handy because then the drums would sound awesome. So what we've then got is the same for those basically sort of triplets, perhaps, not really, sort of triplets. Okay, so it's the same. Yeah, so Ashley, sometimes it's good to make it predictable, sometimes change stuff when it shouldn't, maybe because I hear it 50 million times, get fatigued. Yeah, look, yeah, that's right. Well, you've got to think of your listener too. I mean, if your listener's going to listen to the song a few times, if they really like it, they're going to get fatigued by the same thing too. So you've got to make it a little bit different and spice it up a bit, I think. So we've got that the same. Okay, so this is what it sounds like, which is, it's fine. But I've got this, we set it up to 16th triplets. That should give me what I want it to do. And I can put it there and paste it again. Is that going to give me what I want it? Is that the right spot? Let's hear it and see what it sounds like. So it's double timed. It's just a little bit different. So here we go. Just for that little bit. And I think that kind of works, just to mix it up a bit. It's still in that break, it's still in the pre-chorus, but it sounds different to this bit. Actually, I will solo the drums and that would make life a little bit easier, wouldn't it? Haha. I need to solo all of them, I think, if I do that. I think. Yeah. No, I've got to put them all on. Really? 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 Okay. Anyway, who knows what I'm doing? Let's hear it and see what it sounds like. Where's it gone? That should be, where's my... drum map gone? Oh, that's because I've highlighted all of them. Right, so that's what it was. And this is what I've changed it to. Which I think works. Meh, I'm going with it. I'm going to go with it. I'm just gonna go with it. So let's turn all that off and let's go back to here and make sure that that does sound okay. Here it is again. Yeah, so I think that works and it gives a bit of variety. So the first pre-chorus is double the length. In the second pre-chorus, and then the third pre-chorus, is that fill the same as the first one. So I think, it gives a bit of variety and, if Mike from Creative Source ever watches this, it'll make him a happy person. And, we want that in life. We want to be happy. I don't know, really. I'm just making that up. He did mention it in one of his live streams one week and I thought, right, well, I better take note of that one then. Hey. All right. So What else? Okay, so automation, file, save, 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 lots of saving. I don't want to lose this. There's a lot of hours gone into this one. All right, I think it's sounding all okay, but what I want to do is I haven't got vocals yet, but I know which bits I want to bring the strings out in, and I think the guitars and drums and everything are pretty okay. They don't need any automation. It's just a final mix for levels towards the end, but to actually highlight anything, I think what we possibly want to do is maybe the strings. So let's have a little listen again to the string section. I'm thinking just a bit of movement there, I think. And if I can use my CC wheel on my keyboard, what I'll do is I'll put a little wiggle into this so that we can get not only velocity, but we can get the CC wheel in there as well. So let's do that and play with a bit of automation. Where's it gone? Here we go. So yeah, so all I'm going to do is going to go a little bit before and hit record and give it a little wiggle. And all that's done is that has actually put into the put the modulation into there now. So now I've got the modulation in there, and then I can draw and change it accordingly. Now, if we do that, bear with me, it's a bit of a process. That's okay. That's what we do. That's two. Okay, so that is, we're on the first violins, and we want to basically start off a little bit quieter, because at the moment it's pretty much all one level. So we want it to, let's hear what the level is at that one. So there we go. So that's not too bad. And if within the context of the song, it's okay, but we want a bit of movement. So we want to have it ebb and flow a bit. And with the pencil icon here, we can actually change it to stay on the pencil. Just press T and this menu comes up, and then you can change it to a whole range of things. But I just leave it as freehand and I just manually draw it in. And then what we can do is then we can copy that modulation to the other string parts so they're all the same. So we can take that off record now, put it back on modulation, and this gives it a bit of the modulation actually changes the sample. So when a violin player, for example, plays quietly, it's not as rich a sound, and then it changes tonality and quality of sound as the modulation is increased. So it does change a little bit. So for example, if I played a note, it does change the volume as well. but it changes the intensity of how it's played. So if you use this in conjunction with the volume, then you get a much more realistic sound of strings being played. And that's what I really want from this. So, but we also want to be consistent. So if you think about a string section sitting in front of a conductor, the conductor will conduct the music accordingly to not only how it's written, but how they're feeling and how they want the audience to feel in response to how they play. So if, loudness and velocity and all that sort of thing is sort of accounted for. So that's what we want to do. So for example, for this little bit here, we can just go, okay, so we want it to start off fairly quiet, and then we want to build up a bit, and then we want it to go sort of down a bit throughout the phrase. So sort of like a crescendo. Okay, so I've just drawn that in and see how it's changed. So we'll hear that. Slowly increasing. All right, so, and then that next bit is, I can't remember what that next bit is. Where is it? Okay, so that was a pre-chorus and going into the verse and pre-chorus. We're not in the first chorus, there's no strings there, but there's the verse and then the chorus and then the two choruses at the end. So if we put the marker there, that'll indicate that we're at bar 37 and up. You can see that a bit better. And then this bit, let's listen to this. Whoops. Right, so this is the first verse and chorus. So we might want that a little bit louder because we're just gradually increasing the intensity throughout the song. So again, we can just make that whole phrase a crescendo and start it from down here, but build it up a little bit more than it was last time. Let's see if that works. Maybe not as much of a decrescendo. Okay, so that goes to there. And then I think this is the chorus here. Here. Yep, so that's the beginning of the last two choruses, I think. Yep, so these are the last two choruses. So we want to do the same again, and we don't want the last chorus to be too much with the strings because that's when everything else drops out, all the other instruments. So the only instruments playing are the strings. So we want them quite emotive, if that makes sense. So we'll just bring it up a little bit for a bit of a crescendo and then down a bit and then up. And then up for that last little bit and then crescendo off and see how that sounds. Let's see what that sounds like. Yes, Velocity Mountains. You can even drop that off a little bit more there. All right, so how does that relate to the rest? Well, let's see if that works in context for the last two choruses then. That sounds pretty good. I think that works well. So you can definitely hear the violins because I think that's a bit louder now than the other string instruments. So now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to copy. I think I can make this work. She says. I think I can copy. I can't copy the modulation, but I can copy. Oh, hang on. MIDI? No. No. Oh, I thought I could copy it. See, if Roque was on right now, he'd be able to say, this is what you do. No. Do volume, reverb, pan, chorus, automated. It's a bit of a bother. I can do volume and copy that, but I can't do CC1. Or can I? I know, right? I make for a fun show. Let's see. That's really small. Copy, selected volumes, move, selected, convert MIDI to envelopes. I don't want to post anything. Oops, that's not good. Okay, so change the tool back. Change the tool to that one. Let's see if I can copy that. So if I copy that and then go to second violins, can I actually paste that? No, I cannot. I wonder it's because I don't have it in here. Interesting. This is interesting. See, this is my I don't know what I'm doing right at play right here. I know what I can do. I can do what I did before and record and do a wiggle. Technical terms here. Okay. So that should have given me that. Now I might be able to do a paste. No. Still won't let me do it. That's really annoying. I thought I'd be able to be tricky there. Copy selected values to this line, move selected values to this line, convert MIDI to envelopes. What does that do? No! Don't do that. That's so funny. I thought I'd be able to. Oh, I see what it's doing. Yeah. Oh, that's annoying. Soft mode, mask mode. Autofocus. Ugh. So this is where I don't know what I'm doing. What's that? I don't want to do that. No, turn that. Just go away. No. What happened? What did I do? Turn that off. Okay. No. No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to manually do the other ones, which is a bit of a bother. That's okay. So I'm going to have to manually go into the other one. Basically try and remember what it is. We can do that. We can do that. Okay. So this is where we're going to do this. Okay, so that's brought that in. So we will go to here. That's about 64, and then we drag it up to there. So we're going to do that. We had a bit of a crescendo for there. Look about the same. And not far off. A bit too much. Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty close. I'm happy with that. We'll go with that. Next bit. Ooh, big one. That's what she. No, wait. I won't. Don't. No. Bad. Bad Keeonra. Naughty Keeonra. Okay, so that's right up there. Run up. Like that. How's that look? Not too bad. Went a bit too far down. There we go. How's that look? That doesn't look too bad. Yeah. That works. Okay, next bit. Click and drag. Yeah, look, I'm giving up all hope. There's no hope. No, there is hope. That's okay. I'm being silly now. But I kind of know what I'm doing. Maybe. Roller Hey, look, this whole journey's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it really? It's such a fun roller coaster. Let's have a go here, shall we? Look, if you're watching this in the future, you can let me know in the comments how to do this better, because I'm sure there's a way to copy and paste this or something or other, but that's okay. Let's see if that sort of. I got a bit of a dip there. Might change that to a bit of a gradual thing anyway. I haven't done that one yet. What am I doing? That's the wrong one. Let's see if that works. Oops, I keep going to the wrong one. Not good. Not good, not good. Okay, so how's that look? That doesn't look too bad. Let's hear how that sounds together. That's first and second violins. Oops, I've done it again. Up here because I've got the pencil tool on. It sounds nice. So I think, that is definitely working. So let's have a look at the cello and see if we can do the same. No, violas. Let's do the same for the violas. Let's go before and whoops, I've got the wrong tool in again. A little bit before, record on the track, hit record and do a bit of a wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. And there's the modulation wheel recorded. And what we're going to do is, oops, too much. So the first bit is just a bit of crescendo and it's a bit quieter. That bit. Does that look similar to those bits? Too much. Gradual. Not bad. Okay. Next bit. We've got pick a bit of the roller coaster. Pick a bit of the roller coaster. Here we go. Yeah. Up and over. That's a bit wonky there. Let's see if that's similar. This one is gradual. That's gradual. That went a bit wonky towards the end. Not as. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay. Bit of a bumpy ride. Stairway to Heaven. Oh, not quite. Ah, dear. Alrighty. And then this bit is this bit's a bit of the bumpy ride. This bit's a bit bumpy. So we go down for that, up for that bit, up for that bit. Okay. So we want to go up for all of that and down. And then I think up, down, up, and gradually down. Then that pretty much lines up. That's not too bad. Okay, let's listen to all three, just that last little section. Yeah, that works. That works. It works. Happy with that? Alrighty. Let's go back to the beginning and we're going to do the same with the jelly. And we'll go to about here and do a little bit of a wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oops. Nope. Don't do that. That was not good. I don't know why it did that. Right. Try that again. Okay. Here we go. That's better. This was just a gradual from here, about here. Yep, that looks about right. And then the next bit was a bit more. He doesn't like a loud cello. Ah, I think that's way off, but anyway. Oh, not too bad. Yeah, the bumpy bits are similar bumpy bits. Too many bumpy bits. I got 3 there. Let's try that again. Up and up and up. Might make that a little bit more. Let's see how that goes. So in context, it sounds like this. Yeah, I love the cello. Love a good cello. So it possibly needs to be balanced out a little bit more, but that's okay. We can do that with general volume anyway. And look, the other thing you can do is automate the volume. So you can see there's lots of yellow pretty lines here now. So the other thing, if we wanted to, is if we can open up the automation lane here, and we can have multiple automations, which is really cool. So you can do pan and all sorts of things if you want to pan things differently, but we're not going to do panning. That's already pre-panned, not pre-planned, pre-panned, because naturally, as you're facing an orchestra, your cellos are on the right, then the violas, then second violins and first violins are on the far left. But I've also panned them a little bit more as well. So when you hear it, you hear the strings sort of fairly separated and it sort of sounds a bit wider. So I've done that. But if we were going to automate the volume, then we can either use CC control to do that, or we can do that manually in here. And it's this that you can actually copy and paste to the other one. So if, for example, we were going to increase the volume of just this last bit here, zoom into it here, where yeah, it's the whole last chorus. So if we wanted to bring the cello up a little bit more for that last chorus, we could in fact actually save this first. We can actually just put a dot here and then another dot here. Actually, I'll bring my tool up again. There, that's better. So put a dot here and another dot here, and then a dot at the end here, and another dot here. So if you do 2 dots at a time, what you do is you actually scooch it up a bit. So I've added, oh, that's a bit much. No, 4 dBs. It's a little bit much. So, 2.1 dBs there and 2.1 there. And if I wanted to bring up, so it's consistent with that, I can actually add a node there, and then bring it up to a little bit higher here and here. So we've got, a volume increase of just a little bit of a crescendo here as well to go with it, and then it slowly decrescendos. And what I can do is then I can copy this, I think. Read on add automation. No, I can't. Okay, I thought I could. And I think there's a way to do it. Yeah, there is. There is. There is. So if I change that to that, I can copy that. Copy that to the playhead beginning there and go to the violas, click on automation lane and paste that there, and I have pasted the same change in the volume for the violas as I have done the cellos. We can do the same for the violins too. That's the volume automation lane. Keep the playhead in the same spot. Control paste. And that's going to do the same for there. And the violins the same. And so the whole string section is changing its volume throughout that bit. So if we were going to hear them solo together, so you get the idea. So we didn't do heaps of automation there. We sort of fixed up a lot of bits and pieces, but we got there in the end. So we did some cool stuff. I hope you've enjoyed it, Ashley. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of this. I haven't had a lot of time to do other videos on music psychology or singing or other bits and pieces. Life's been a bit busy, but at least I've been able to do this every week. So I'm still working on this song. I'm hoping to do the vocals this week. I won't make you sit through vocal comping because that can be a bit arduous and a bit boring and extraordinarily repetitive hearing dry vocals. So I'm thinking hopefully next week either it'll be the release of a new track, probably not, and I reckon it'll just be a bit of touching up here and there of just doing the final bits and pieces before I do the final mix and mastering and everything, and then release it. So I'm looking forward to that. I really want to get this out in the next week or two. That will be good because then I want to get on with a Christmas tune. Yeah, it's heading towards Christmas already. I know. I'm glad you enjoyed the video and the stream, Ashley. Thank you very much for joining me in the chat. It's been a pleasure having you once again. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I know it's a bit later in the eastern states of Australia. And to everyone who has watched this at a later time, on that happy note, until then and a bit more, take care. And I'll see you later.